Hi everyone. Just thought I'd make a quick behind the scenes video so you can see how we at Northwest make our weekly worship service videos. And you can see this as a guide if you're interested in doing a relatively cheap but professional quality live stream for your own church, or if you just want to see how it's done. So to summarize, we use a platform called Sling Studio to synchronize and switch between all our different video and audio sources. Then we edit the video in a program called Final Cut Pro, and we upload the file to YouTube, where we set it to premiere live. You can also use Sling Studio to live stream via YouTube or Facebook Live. Earlier this year and last year, when our building was closed due to the COVID-19 lockdown, we live streamed our services at our scheduled time of 9:30 on Sunday mornings. Now that our building's back open for in-person service, we prefer to pre-record a video so we can use professional music and so our minister doesn't have to wear a mask. Our worship service in Spanish is still live streamed on Facebook Live, however. We see it as the best of both worlds, but we may consider going back to live streams at some time in the near future. Getting into some more of the technical details, the Sling can connect wirelessly to a smartphone to capture video. You can also use a digital camcorder, but the annoying thing is that this requires you to buy a pretty expensive wireless camera link. So we stick to a smartphone and a tripod, which gives us good enough camera quality for our purposes. You do need to download the free Sling Studio Capture app onto whichever device you're using to record video. You can have up to 4 live video sources at a time, which can give you a pretty wide variety of camera angles. You can also use an HDMI cable to feed in computer display and computer audio. This is how we add sheet music and sermon slides to our worship service video, as well as the live camera view of our minister. For audio, the Sling has a 3.5mm jack, which we hook up to our soundboard. If your minister uses a mic on Sundays, then you probably have an appropriate sound system for live streaming. Using line-in audio also gives you much more professional sound quality than if you just used your cell phone mic, but Sling does allow for that as well if you need it. To direct and manage the production, Sling offers another free app. This one's called Sling Studio Console. And this, you can download it on an iPad or a Mac. This gives you a control panel where you can preview and switch between different video sources, control volume levels, and all aspects of the project. If you're live streaming, this is also where you'll enter your Facebook or YouTube account information to send your production on to the streaming platform of your choice. Sling uses a standard SD card for storage. When you hit record, Sling saves your production as an MP3 file on the SD card. And then you can just take the SD card out of the Sling and move the files to your computer for any post-production and for uploading. That's if you're uploading a video instead of producing a live stream. Also, if you're using any pre-recorded videos or graphics during your production, the SD card is how you get them onto the Sling for the production.
Good morning. We're glad that you're part of our online worship service today.
So, now that you know the basics, here's what one of our recording sessions looks like. On the day we record, I move the week's PowerPoint presentation and all of our song files onto the computer that we have hooked up to the Sling. I use a pair of over-the-ear headphones connected to the iPad that we use with the Console app so I can monitor sound levels more effectively. Once the Sling is on, it generates a Wi-Fi network. I connect to that network on the phone we use to film the worship service and open the Sling Capture app. This should result in the phone's video showing up in the Console app, and I can now manipulate it like any video source. We take a minute to set up the shot, make sure the angle and the lighting are right with a decent amount of headroom. Next, I check audio levels. I play part of one of the songs on the second computer that we have hooked up to the soundboard. Next, I have Patrick quickly test his mic at several different volume levels. I've generally found that when the line in the audio mixer here maxes out at the bottom of the yellow, we get audio that's loud enough to hear, but not so loud that it's distorted or blows out anyone's speakers. If you're live streaming, it's important to keep checking on your audio levels throughout the production, but if you're recording to upload later, you can always make adjustments in post. You can fix anything in post. Sound check? Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems a little loud. Test.
That's very loud, yeah. After I've done that, everything's pretty straightforward. I check my project settings to make sure the Sling is reading the SD card properly, and I hit record. When the button turns red, a clock appears in the program window and a red light appears on the Sling hub. The Sling is recording. If you're live streaming, you'll want to make sure your account settings are correct and up to date. Then you can press the Go Live button. It's not necessary to also hit record if you're just live streaming, but I do prefer to record and create a video file as a backup just in case anything goes wrong with the stream. Now, whenever I want to switch between video inputs, I can either drag the video from the preview window on the left side to the large window at the bottom here, or I can just press the Preview to Program button here. I have MP3 files for each song that we're going to use during the service queued up on the computer that's hooked up to the sound system. We get all our music from Acapella, which is Keith Lancaster's company. I have according sheet music from the Paperless Hymnal in each week's presentation, so whenever it's time for a song, I hit play and switch to the computer input, and then I just run the slides like a normal worship service. Often Patrick wants slides or graphics in his sermon, so I add those to the weekly slideshow as well. Once the service is over, I press the record button again to stop recording and finalize the file. Then I turn everything off. Then I can take the SD card out and move the raw file onto my laptop. I use a program called Final Cut Pro to edit the worship service video. It's a pretty powerful video editor with a lot of features. There's usually not a whole lot of editing to do since I'm able to add in graphics and audio from the sound system beforehand in Sling while we're running the actual production. Generally, the only things I do in Final Cut are normalize the audio levels, add in the week's communion meditation video, and lengthen the amount of time that a few of the slides are on screen. Then I download the project that I've worked on in Final Cut as a .mov file, and I upload it to our YouTube channel. I add a thumbnail, which I design in an in-browser graphic design program called Canva, and a video description. Then I set the video to live premiere at 9:30 on Sunday morning. It takes a little over an hour to upload the video to YouTube, and unfortunately you do have to keep the tab in your browser open until it finishes uploading. From setup until the video finishes uploading and is ready to play Sunday morning, the whole process takes about 3.5 hours. And that about sums it up. I should also note that this isn't an ad for Sling Studio or for any of the platforms that I mentioned today. Like any platforms, there are pros and there are cons, and it does work fairly well for our purposes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll work well for everyone's. This takes a lot of trial and error to figure out the best way to conduct a live stream. Maybe that's a subject for another video someday. Well, thanks for taking the time to learn about how we make our worship service videos. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe to our channel for weekly worship service and Bible class videos, and maybe some more behind-the-scenes content in the future. Thanks again. Take care. God bless.